Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cocktails and Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Alice Rouse, author of this little book. This one. And these ones as well, where you can get that, my merchandise, all down in the description. So go down. You won't get a tap, tap, tap from me. I won't tap out on that, will I? But we'll tap out on Brett Michaels every single fucking time. Ladies, if you know, you know. A couple of you put that down in the comments, so... But as always, I like to start out as being so thankful for the family we have here, for all the amazing people that I'm meeting, that we're all having conversations with, that are getting to know each other, that are hanging out like it's a concert and we're in between grabbing beers, talking, hanging out, meeting people, smoking a little. I love the vibe here. It's just so amazing, and you guys create that with me. So I just am always thankful of every single one of you here being part of the family, whether you're showing yourselves or not. I do see your faces when I look at my stats, so it's really cool to see all your faces. And I always just really love the family here, truly. Just can never ever be thankful enough, never put it into words. And speaking of words, sometimes collide comes to mind, and worlds collide. That happens. We're going to talk about that today, because being a groupie, it has its mostly fun times, but it does have some bad times, and those bad times can be rather precarious, because sometimes, once in a while, it happens to us all once, ladies, down in the comments, when rockers collide, because it's gonna happen. Rockers will go on tour together, and you may have a couple, and we're just gonna talk about it. And because when it happens, it's gonna be utter chaos. So we're having our local Talisman Brewery. See, it's nice and cold. Look at that. Look at that nice little sweat coming off it. Just cold, nice stout. Because like I said, when a groupie goes out on the road and you don't realize it might be a package tour or a festival tour, there could be other bands, and one of them might be seeing someone from the other band while you're with this guy in the band. And how do you handle it? What happens? I don't know. Yeah, I do. Bitches, you gotta make a choice. All right. Oh no. My cheap... Oh, I just broke my... Oh, I still have my A though. I broke my thingy. I guess I used it too much. Oh well, I'll just have to order a new one. Okay, everybody grab your udders. Or your friends' udders, if they say it's okay. Kick up your feet. And let's have a little cocktails and rockatails. Cheers, big ears. So good. This is one of my favorites. It's just a really super easy drinking chocolate stout, just really nice and rich, not over, and it's not a bourbon soak, so it kind of gives me a break sometimes, because they can get really strong sometimes, those bourbon soaks. But these guys are local out of Ogden, super great. Talisman Brewery. They don't make a ton of flavors, but the ones they make are spot on. And speaking of, okay, so like I said, sometimes, and I've got my notes. Oh, sometimes the world goes skiwampus, just like that. We just went sideways. But one of the things I don't really talk about when, I'm talking about all the rockers I hang out with and stuff, is as groupies and rock stars, roadies and everything, we tend to keep an illusion around ourselves. We tend to keep a very in the moment kind of, not walls up, but a secrecy. The rock stars don't talk about other groupies they're seeing, or the women at home. We don't talk about other rock stars we're seeing. So it kind of creates this little world that we're all in, that is very undisturbed, that is very protected, that is very, the walls are there. Nobody can penetrate that, and that's one of my favorite things about rock and roll. When you lose yourself in the guy that you're with, and you're, just hanging out, and you're lost in that moment, because we do live in that moment. It's like you're not talking about, oh yes, last week I was hanging out with Def Leppard before I hooked up with David. It's like the summer of 1988. We don't talk about it. There was a new band in town every other fucking day, especially May. Like I say, I couldn't walk after May. But so it kind of, and when it happens, it fucking breaks that illusion, which is actually really kind of important to the rock star groupie relationship. Like I said, it's very much living in the moment, living behind that hotel room doors. Even though you might have been with that hotel at a hotel with that another rock band before that same hotel, you're just living with that guy you're with in the moment. There's nothing else. You haven't he doesn't have other groupies, you don't have other rock stars. So that's, and it really sucks because it's gonna happen. Like when it was 1989, and Castle Donington was the Monsters of Rock Festival was going on at Castle Donington. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta say no, ladies, because who was playing that year? Kiss, David Lee Roth, Megadeth. I hadn't slept with Axl yet, but Guns N' Roses was playing. Iron Maiden. So let's see. Kiss, Eric Carr. Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson. Megadeth, Dave Mustaine. Uh, David Lee Roth, obviously. And two of those guys asked me you should come to Donington. I'll fly you out. It's going to be so much fun. There's so many cool bands. We can run around England for another week because I'm not doing anything. No, I'm going to be on my period that week and my hair needs washing and the dog ate my homework. No, no, nope. I knew better because, again, it's like, yeah, you're going to be sitting there, and something actually did happen. Something, because there was a picture of me that I think Richie Barron, who was the roadie that pretty much wallpapered me and Kristen into our little groupie places in rock and roll, and, Danny and all of us, like, because the roadies used to introduce, the group, their favorite groupies to the rock stars because they got a little bonus for it. But so at Castle Donington, I had said no to both of the guys, to Eric Carr and to David Lee Roth. I had said no. I'm busy. I can't come. It's just I have school. I got finals in college, even though it was 89. I was at high school by that point. But anyway, so I had said no, and then Richie Barron had gotten some pictures developed from, and a bunch were Salt Lake City, and he had pictures of like me and because who was he working with? I want to say he was with Def Leppard, and he had some pictures of me and Sav, of Kristen and I with Ian Jeffries and him, and on the stage while Vid and holding the bass guitar for Savvy's bass guitar with his bass tech Vid, and he was going through the pictures, and he was showing a couple of roadies, and I think Dave Mustaine was standing there. Definitely one of the guys from Iron Maiden, possibly David Lee Roth, or a couple guys in the band that knew us, Kristen and I from Salt Lake City from previous tours. And they were like, "Oh, there's Allison." And one roadie checked in and showed, "Yeah, the biggest whores in Salt Lake City." And we were like, and he fucking got punched. First of all, Richie turned around and started screaming at him. Dave Mustaine was just drunk as fuck and just punched him. But then here's all these guys standing there, and they're like, "Yeah, we all know her." And I wasn't there, and thank God I wasn't there because I didn't have to deal with the aftermath. But it was nice to know that they were all protective of me and Kristen and all of us, because they wouldn't let this one roadie call us whore. I don't even know who the roadie was in the end, and I was just like, What, why do you do that? So that one actually worked out okay, but could you imagine if I was actually there? Because Dave Mustaine has seen me with other rockers, and he just gets that little smirk on his face. He just kind of gets that, like he's very proud of the prowess that I have, that I can, fish these rock stars and pull them in no time. Yeah, Dave has seen me with other rockers, and he was kind of like, amazed, but yeah. So that's one thing, because tensions can get high, and none of us on the road, we don't want that illusion broken. We don't want our walls broken down while, we want to live in just that moment, which only includes us, their tour, what's going on with us in that moment, Now, I've talked about Bochet, who was a groupie that was big before Kristen and I, Danny and I hit the scene, but she was also around for a while before she moved to LA. But her kind of demise in the Salt Lake City groupie scene, which I found her on Facebook, I may have her on, because I would love to have Bochet on, because she's got some amazing stories, and she's got the Salt Lake City stories. But anyway, so Bochet was hanging out with Kelly Nichols. They were opening up for Def Leppard. We all definitely like I had hung out with oh God, just everything's coming at once. Like that night with Def Leppard and Tesla. Woo! A lot of guys coming at once. If you want to experiment, why the fuck not? It was a candy store in the 80s. But so anyway, so Bochet was hanging out with Kelly Nichols. And Kelly Nichols, oh, so many women wanted him. He was not only just handsome, but he had that extra charisma and chemistry and that too cool for school kind of when the guy walks in the room, it's just all heads turned, larger than life type of thing. Kelly was that in LA Guns. And Bochet, he was just fascinated with Bochet. She was such a beautiful girl, still is. But um so beautiful. He was just fascinated with her, like just baby dolled her, treated her like everything. And she had been out on the road with him, hung out with him, and it was so cute. And this is one of the last times I saw her. I think it was the last time I saw her. Um, Although she was, still part of the music scene. But anyway, so she's hanging out with Kelly, but then she has someone that works for Def Leppard, this English roadie, that she was also seeing. Because, in the 80s, we aren't starfuckers. Like Pamela Scammy Les Pars once said, we don't date the road crew. Well, honey, I do. I've dated road crew. A lot of us have because we're all part of the family. And if you are looking down on the road crew, you need to get off your little star fucking pedestal. But anyway, that's besides the point. Because like I said, we're all family. Road crew, rock stars, groupies. We're all family out there. We're all the same. We're living the same lifestyle. Who cares if we stand on the stage or not? We're all on it somehow, some way. Side of it, front of it, center of it, back of it, on top of it, underneath it. We're all there. But so anyway, so she was also seeing this roadie from Def Leppard who he had called her, obviously Kelly had called her, and she needed to go see him. This is before cell phones and stuff, but she told Kelly what time she would meet up with him, and then she said, well, I have to go pick a friend up at the airport, take them home, and then I'll be back down later. Well, she didn't go to the airport. She went because what's their names? LA Guns was staying down at the Motel 6 a few blocks away from our regular haunt, the Marriott, where Def Leppard was staying. And so when we had been down there with Richie, I was down there with Sav because we were just smoking weed and we had just run down there and we're hanging out with the guys from LA Guns and Bochet and just kind of hotel hopping for the party. So we all decide we're going back to the Marriott and Kelly comes with us. He's like, I'll just, leave her a note at the front desk to tell her that, or on the front, on her, I think he left like a note on the door to tell her to meet up at the Marriott in Richie Barron's room because we were going to go there to party. Well, we all go to the Marriott. We stop by the hotel bar. We're just having a drink. We decide to go upstairs because Richie wants to do his party favors. Kristen and I want to do our party favors. Kelly wants to join in some whatever party favors he does. And we go upstairs and we're coming down the hallway when one of the hotel room doors open up. Who comes walking out? Bochet and her English roadie. And here's Kelly with us. And the tension, I mean, like the whole, like we all knew, Kristen and I were like, oh shit. We're like, we haven't, what's going to happen here, And it's just like, you can't, Bochet did not falter, and God love her, because you can't falter. You cannot let the guy know you're with, that you just were kissing the guy standing next to, in the group that we just ran into, who we all know each other because we all tour together, and we're like, hey, how's it going? And Kelly's like, huh, you had to go to the airport, did ya? And the English roadie's like, what's going on? And she's like, nothing, and she really cared about Kelly. She really, really did. So why she made the choice to kind of make up a lie and then go to the hotel to meet up with the roadie, I would have stayed with Kelly because then chances are she would not have run into the roadie the next day. Because there was kind of like a little tension in the hallway. There wasn't like a big scene. It wasn't like, it was just Kelly going, I thought you had to go to the airport to pick up a friend. And Bochet was just like kind of standing there. She didn't know what to say. She's like, well, she just didn't know what to say. So Kelly just walks off, just gone. We all go to the room. We're smoking. We're doing whatever the hell we're doing. And don't see anybody till the next day when we're all meeting up at the back parking lot and, coordinate our times. You're going to be done be rolling up around 3 o'clock. We'll see you about 3 o'clock, yada yada, whatever, because they have interviews to do, stuff like that. So Sav and everybody's rolling up, and I'm walking before they roll up. Kristen and I show up about 10 minutes before they get there, and we see Bochet standing on the sidewalk, and she's wearing this Harley Davidson shirt with this hog on it, right? And she's just so cute. I love Bochet. But I was like, oh, that's a cute shirt. She's like, thanks, I wore it because Kelly loves Alf. I'm like, that's the Harley Davidson pig, right? I didn't say it out loud, but I was just like, okay, just okay. We're just gonna let her. She's had a hard enough night last night, because I'm sure that, she was stressed out because she ended up staying with the roadie. We saw him as back down in the hotel bar, stuff like that. And she was just like, you could tell she was upset, but at the same time, she was not breaking face with her backup guy. Who wasn't as good looking as Kelly. He was good looking, but he was definitely older, a little bit balding, brown hair, kind of smaller stature, but just definitely could not measure up to Kelly. So why she made the decision to go meet up with this guy instead of just totally ghosting him, as we call it these days, and hanging with Kelly, I don't know. But so yeah, she was standing on the back parking lot, on the sidewalk, waiting for Kelly to come out. And, Sav and everybody pulled up. So Kristen and I walked up, and we're like, come on, come on. And Kelly happened to walk out, and she's like, no, I want to wait for Kelly. And we're like, no, just come on, you'll see Kelly in there. But Kelly happened to walk out, and he saw her, and he ignored her. Absolutely ignored her. And I think he had talked to the English roadie, because we ran into the roadie on the inside because he was getting some stuff on stage. We were getting ready to do sound check. And I'm like, Bochet's here. He's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck about. He's like, I don't give a fuck. He's like, I just talked to Kelly. He's like, I can't believe. He's like, I was down on her, and what was I tasting Kelly's? And I was like, okay, all right, you do you, boo. So it did not turn out pretty for both. That was the last time I actually saw her on the Salt Lake City scene. I never saw her there again after that day, because it probably hurt her feelings. She probably got a little blackballed by Def Leppard and, LA Guns. Definitely didn't go backstage. She might have worked things out, by now, but that night you could see the tension in her face. You could see, like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, what do you do? It's like when the rock star's wife or girlfriend shows up from home and there's a groupie going, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like I talk about in one of the episodes, I talk about when I was seeing John Entwistle in the very, very first internet live streaming concert was ever done, called iBash. And John had been in town for a couple days. We were hanging out. His girlfriend decides to show up out of the blue, which I didn't know she existed until this point. Decides to show up out of the blue because, again, we don't talk about shit. And it was before internet, before all the times where we could bust people. But shows up out of the blue. I come walking into the Marriott, not the Marriott, the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, where the event was held and the bands were all staying. And there's Cy at the bar right by the front door, about 100 yards in. There's this bar that's just kind of out in the middle of all these slot machines. And I was starting to walk to the hotel, to the, elevators to go up to John's room. And Cy just comes and grabs me by the shoulder. He's like, nope. And I'm like, what? What is going on? And he's like, John's girlfriend just showed up. Oh, shit. And there's even a part in an interview he's doing later that day where he knows I'm going to show up at the gig. And I'll put a link down to it in the description. But he knows I'm going to show up at the gig, and all you can do is see him looking and looking and looking and looking. And then he sees me go in, and he looks at the guy, and his face just goes deadpan. Because I knew she was there, but Lisa, she had an inkling. Because I think that's why Lisa showed up. She kind of had that girlfriend gut feeling, as we all do. And she just showed up. She surprised him with John's mom, Queenie, at the time, before she, at the time. She's always John's mom, but so she showed up with Queenie. I think Chris was with her. I'm not sure. I just saw Queenie and Lisa because I was like, okay, I'm not going to go. I was like, oh shit, okay. And so I was like, probably best you don't show up at the gig. I'm like, don't tell me not to do something. I'm smart enough to know that I'm not gonna see the Who that night. I'm just going to see the rest of the concert, which is really awesome. It was Kiss, original Kiss, Peter Criss, Ace Frehley, the whole band in their makeup for the first time. Natalie Cole, Brian Setzer with the and Tony Bennett coming out and jamming. One of the first times I met Tony Bennett. I mean, it was an amazing night. But my snarky little ass decided I was going to go into the MGM Grand Arena, into the Garden Arena, and go watch Soundcheck. Just, because, I don't know, I like to fuck with people like that sometimes. Gotta leave him a little bit of a huh. So yeah, like I said, I'll put the link down in the description of the interview of John at iBash, and you can see him and you can watch. And I think I've put the link down here before, and someone's like, I think you could hear him say Allison's here, but I don't hear it. I don't hear it. But I think someone, and it could be, I don't know. But anyway, so you can see him watching, because you have to be careful. You cannot let these worlds collide. I mean, look what happened when John's died. Man, we fucking collided. And let me tell you, all of his other side women, they don't like me. They do not like me crashing into their world, because they will never be known for the relationship they had with John, but I will be for my relationship with John. So yeah, that was when a rocker collided. Like, Lisa and I almost came face to face, head to head. And then, no, Cy in his ever eloquent, very practiced ways, got me out of the way. He saw me walk into the sound check. He's like, hi. And he just couldn't really say anything. And they're like, Allison's here. Like I said, you can see John see me, and he just is like, oh. Like, his face goes long, and he's just sort of staring out to nowhere. Like, oh shit. But I did not go back, to where I knew Lisa and everybody was. I just kind of wanted to be like, this is my town. You don't show up in my town, bitches. It's Vegas. So there's when worlds collide. And like my friend Nashville Nicole, she is absolutely stunner, beautiful girl. And she was part of the Metal Sludge crowd. That's how we actually met. But she was singing, I can't remember who, God, the lead singer of, not Shinedown, God, I can't remember the band, but she was seeing the lead singer. We call him Captain Thundergun in his Hyundai Posse. Anyway, long story, because he and I have crossed paths, and I'm like, yeah, my friends. I said, and he was like, hey, da da da. I'm like, yeah, we have mutual friends. He's like, who? I'm like, Nashville Nicole. He was like, But so, and then she was also hanging out with the guitar player from Avenged Sevenfold. And I can't remember, like I said, the lead singer, I cannot remember what band it was, but Avenged Sevenfold and his band were playing together on another tour. And guitar player of Avenged Sevenfold, they were playing a solo gig, like a solo gig with Avenged Sevenfold in Nashville, and the next day going to join up with this tour. So he's good friends with the lead singer of this other band. They're all hanging out. He's talking. Nicole happens to call him. He's like, yeah, I want to fly you out, blah, 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 blah. And the lead singer's like, oh, you got a girl, do you? And he's like, yeah, this really amazing, beautiful, just cool-ass, badass chick, Nicole from Nashville. The lead singer, wait, Nicole says her last name, and he's like, yeah. He's like, what, you just saw her He's like, I just saw her last week. Because this lead singer had flown her out on the road a few times, and they were down in New Orleans and Shreveport and stuff on a little tour there. And I was like, yeah, get the drive-through margaritas, girl. But anyway, so yeah, so they kind of both called her at the same time, and unceremoniously was like, yeah, we won't be flying you out anymore. And all she did was hang up the phone, call me, and we were laughing our asses off about it. Because it happens, and I think groupies are probably the most sedate when it happens. Like I said, I just kind of fucked with Lisa a little. I just kind of fucked with John a little bit, just to kind of, because I could. And because I didn't have any place else to really wander about. I was there. I had my pass, I was going to see the show, because who wouldn't want to see a show where you get to see all those bands in one night? Best fucking show I've ever seen. So, yeah, I just happened to, I was hungry. I wanted to go to catering. Yeah, I went to the Rainforest Cafe instead that was at the MGM Grand at the time. But yeah, I mean, it's like it's crossing paths. It can be very deadly for a groupie. It can be very deadly for a rock star. Depending on who's there. Like I said, Lisa, John's ex, she was psycho, psycho. Like the kind that was so gacked out that she threatened to throw herself out windows of hotel rooms and stuff. I mean, she was just psycho. So I was just like, huh, let's go poke the bee's nest for a minute. But yeah, and I was cool about it. I left. So I was like, you gotta go. I'm like, okay, fine. He's like, come on, let's go get lunch. I'm like, fine. But so ladies, you've got to, what it comes down to is when you're hanging out backstage and you're seeing one rocker and you're seeing another rocker, and there's going to be a chance where they're either going to cross paths in the same city, like happened with a certain bass player and a lead singer, and we just happened to see each other crossing a hotel. They were checking out, we were checking in. I'm not going to say who. Um, Bass player comes up, smacks me on the ass because the lead singer was somewhere else, like in the bathroom or something. Comes up, smacks me on the ass. Lead singer sees that. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, oh, I know her. He's like, yeah, well, she's with me. And I was like, oh, God, oh, God. I'll just, taxi. I'll be on the next standby flight back to Salt Lake City. But I wasn't. Or like, when we ditched Def Leppard and stuff. And of course, there was, sometimes the paths don't necessarily have to actually physically cross for the world to be invaded by another rock star. It's like the disappointment on Vinnie Paul's face when he was like, how come you left Vegas? What was going on? I'm like, well, when you wake up next to a dead rock star, you gotta go. And he was like, what? And I was like, John Entwistle. And that just the look on, I mean, I had to tell Vin. It was just, I had to. He was going to find out sooner or later, but unfortunately, he had believed some of the lies that went with it until I had to correct him. And that was the last time I saw Dime. That was a few months before Ohio happened. Yeah, that all happened. But, and that was the walk of shame that was heard around the rock world. And a lot of rockers heard about it. And they knew it was me. And they were like, holy shit. Is she okay? Most of them were like very protective, very much, is she okay? Is she okay? But then Vin was just totally, because he wasn't so much a part of the English rock crowd like I was, or like, how they are all connected, have the same management or whatever. So when you have the walk of shame that was heard around the rock world, most of the rockers, they were very, very protective. They were like, oh my God, I hope she's okay. We all know about, I had to tell Glenn Tipton and everything that happened that night. If you read the book, chapter 19 is 60 pages for a fucking reason. Because it was that complicated, because rock stars were colliding in so many different directions. So, it's like, you've got to make a choice, and you've got to decide, okay, am I going to lose one or am I going to lose both? And if I lose both, when's the next band coming in town? It's going to happen, ladies, and you're going to have to deal with it. And you're going to have to make that choice. And you're going to have a standby ticket ready at all times if it's on the road. Because I don't think it's going to be like Def Leppard did for Marie and I back in the day, where we still stayed an extra few weeks in New York, and they still paid for our hotel room thanks to their tour manager and production manager, but yeah, so it happens. Sorry, there went what's left of my opener. So yeah, it's gonna happen, ladies. When you take on a lot of rock and roll, lovers, a lot of, you're playing the band game and you've got a few pieces collected, got them in your jar in your little groupie shelf, you're putting on your groupie boots and throwing them over a few guys' shoulders, because none of us are committed. We're committed for that moment we are together. But we're also committed to not bursting the bubble of those moments we are together. So, and if a rocker, if the rocker's out on tour and he wants you to come out on the road, be like, oh, I'm just really busy with work, but I have this one weekend off. When you're off, you should come and visit me. There are ways around it, but you're going to have to make a decision to give one up sooner or later, whether it's you're crossing paths with someone, but that's just kind of, it turns ugly when it As you know, ask Boucher, ask Nicole, ask me. We all have our moments where we were just like, damn, and you just really didn't want to lose that rock lover because you like collecting things. But I'm kidding. It's just because it's so addicting. I've talked about being addicted to the moments with them, being addicted to being locked up in their hotel room with them, in their little world that is so untouchable, that is so just your little making. And it's not the same with every rocker you're with, just like it's not the same with every groupie you're with. So when someone does invade that room, it's like, Braveheart coming at the castle at you, and you're like, holy fuck, there's balls flying with flames. No, I'm kidding. That was Dave Mustaine because he's got the red hair. It's like, okay. Anyway, so ladies, tell me when it's happened to you guys, when your rockers have crossed paths, and how did you handle it? Because I just sort of, okay, well, I've just been like, oh, well, that's one less rocker in my repertoire now, And you always have to have a sense of humor about it. You got to laugh about it because as much as you may fall in love with, like, it did really hurt when Vin and I ended because of all that, because that was kind of like, he didn't know what to think about the rumors. He didn't know what to think about me being with another rock star that was way more famous than him, because rockers can get intimidated by other rockers just like we can get intimidated by other groupies. And that's happened. I've been at hotel bars in Chicago with the certain lead singer after that bass player slapped my ass. And somebody he used to sleep with in Chicago shows up at the hotel bar and is like, oh, and you just leave. Just like that married woman from Texas, that James Hetfield. She showed up in Salt Lake City and I was like, bitch, get out of my city. This is my town. This is my time. Go back to your husband in Texas. So, yeah. Tell me, ladies, how you handled it. Which rockers that happened to you with. Because it's happened to us all. This is just kind of a, cautionary episode to let you know. Either walk away, laugh your ass off, walk away, and wait for the next band to come into town. And, yeah, realize that relationship is now over. And if it's not, cool beans, you got yourself a good rocker. So, yeah, tell me down in the comments what you think. Tell me the times you've ran into one of your rockers out on the road with another rocker. How did they react? How did you react? Did they call you back and your mom bitching them out because it was after 10 p.m.? If you know, you know. But all right, and thank you to everybody for listening to my babble today and for getting to the end of this episode and for just having fun with me and enjoying everything. Because I mean, it's just like I said, it's so amazing that so many people... Oh, and I have a surprise. I'll tell you the next episode on Sunday, though. It might be a really good one. Have a little trip out to LA next month. It could open some pretty interesting doors, and I'm so excited about it because this has been kind of something that me and this person have been touching back and forth, touching base for the past 2 years. So it's finally happening. And I'm so excited because it's a huge platform that will give so much of a voice to us 80s ladies, and I'm just so excited for it. I'll tell you, like I said, tune in on Sunday, and we will see you. And for you guys just hanging out that are just discovering the channel, welcome to the family. Become part of it because everybody here is so cool. Feel free to ask any questions, to hang out. I totally suck at answering private messages, but I'm in those comments always. I will always be answering in the comments. So that's the best place to get me. I just really suck at social media anymore because I've kind of pulled back for a lot of good reasons. And it's kind of refreshing. But at the same time, I miss you guys. So I have to be there because I need to see the family. We all need to hang out. So, yeah, so those of you just lurking about, come on down, come backstage, become part of the family, hit the subscribe, hit the bells, and stay for a while here at Cocktails and Rocktails. Cheers, big ears.